This is one of the most studied books in all of Islam, at least in the past 200 years or so, and one of the most important books to start with if you're trying to seek knowledge. And that is of course the three fundamental principles, or Thalathatul Usul in Arabic. If you're a Muslim and you want to have more knowledge and increase your Iman, this is where you start. And there are lots of misconceptions about this book and about the author, so I'm going to clear some of these up and tell you just the basics of what this book will teach you, inshallah. This will be a 4-part series, this video just being an intro video telling you about the author and about some of the context of this book. And the other 3 videos will be summaries of the 3 different fundamental principles. Firstly, the author of this book was a man named Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, born in 1703 in a city named Unaya, which is in modern-day Najd. And he was born to a very knowledgeable and noble family. His father was even a prominent Hanbali scholar and judge. And so Muhammad became very knowledgeable in his youth. He even memorized the Quran at the age of 10. Anyways, at the time, the Arabian Peninsula was full of shirk and deviance and misguidance. People were praying to graves, people believed that amulets and trees brought blessings, they were taking oaths by other than Allah. It was very bad. People called themselves Muslim, but they'd lost the core of the religion, which is sound Tawhid, which is belief in the oneness of Allah and that no acts of worship can be directed towards anyone but Him. The correct practicing of the religion, making sure that every single act of worship you do is supported by the Quran and the Sunnah without distortions, calling to the religion properly in a way that doesn't compromise your beliefs, and without lying to make it sound better for people. And of course, staying patient through all of the harms that may come from practicing Islam correctly and from calling to the truth. And these 4 things are obligatory upon all of us. It's even mentioned in Surah Al-Asr. Allah says that all mankind is at loss, except for those who believe, those who do righteous good deeds, so, acts upon their belief, those who call others to the truth, and call others to be patient through the harms that may come from believing in and calling to the truth. But anyways, because he was so knowledgeable and at the time lived in a place of so much shirk and misguidance, he had a strong opposition against innovations and deviance in the religion and for all of the different types of shirk. And that is why he started writing books about proper Tawhid and proper Islamic beliefs. And because he wrote these books, he received a lot of hate from people who were deeply attached to these practices that opposed Tawhid. People didn't want to stop worshipping graves and doing other things that weren't part of the religion. They just wanted to keep doing what their forefathers were doing. And so a lot of hate and propaganda was directed towards him and towards people who agreed with him. And this hate is still going on today, to be honest. If you have the correct beliefs calling only to pure Tawhid and calling against shirk and deviance and misguidance, people are going to call you a wahhabi, an extremist, whatever. But we have to be patient through this, just like the Prophet ﷺ was patient when the people at his time rejected Islam. Anyways, now onto the actual book. Like I said, the name of the book is The 3 Fundamental Principles, and that's because it teaches you about the 3 most important principles in Islam. And according to this hadith, you'll be asked about these principles in the grave. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? And who is your Prophet? And there's a reason why there's a book for this, alright? It's not enough to just say, Allah is my Lord, Islam is my religion, Muhammad is my prophet. Just acknowledging these things is not enough. We must also know what they mean and what they entail so that you can properly apply this knowledge into your life. When we're asked the 3 questions in the grave, the answers to these questions have to be properly internalized within you. You must properly believe in the answers and know the answers in detail. In fact, according to this hadith, the trial in the grave will be similar to the trial of the Dajjal. It'll be very difficult and it'll be a true test of your Iman. So we must have belief with certainty, and not just belief, but the correct belief, which we also have to act on. For example, even the pagans at the time of the Prophet ﷺ affirmed that Allah is the Lord, that Allah is the creator, but they invoked other than him in dua, which is a type of worship. Believing that Allah exists and that he's the Lord is not enough. We must know who he is through his names and through his attributes without distorting them or changing the meanings. We must know what his rights are and how you must worship him. We must know that absolutely no act of worship can be directed towards anyone or anything except for him. And it's not enough to just say that Islam is your religion. We must know what Allah commanded, what he forbade, what actually counts as worship, what nullifies Islam, and what innovations in the religion are, so that you can follow Islam properly, without distorting the original message or adding anything into the religion. And it's not enough to say that Muhammad ﷺ is your prophet. You should know his seerah, you should actually follow him. Make sure the hadiths you follow are actually authentic and true. You must believe that anybody who contradicts his words intentionally, or tries to add, remove, or change anything he said, is misguided and has deviated from the perfect religion of Islam. So it's not enough that you know the basic answers to these questions, but you must believe in them with certainty, knowledge, and with action. And that is what this book will teach you, inshallah. And now a few misconceptions about this book. Firstly is that a lot of people think that this is some complicated book that goes deep into Islam, and it's just for the scholars and the students of knowledge, and if you read this book you're going to start looking like a Saudi sheikh. But that could not be further from the truth. This book teaches you the bare basics of the religion. The stuff in this book is obligatory for all of us to know and to act upon if we want to be successful. And now when I say this, another misconception comes to mind. How is this book so important for us to know if it was only written like 200 years ago? Surely this is one of the bid'ahs you speak of, right? And I get you, but no, because if you look at the original book, you'll see that it's mostly just Quran and Sunnah with like a little bit of commentary, right? Think of this book as just a summary, right? The people at the time were so misguided and lost. They needed a simple thing to understand. A book that's filled with proofs from the Quran and from the Sunnah to show you that the religion is clear. And everything in this book was mentioned before. Like Tawhid and rejecting shirk and bid'ah were all mentioned in books back in the day, such as Kitab al-Tawhid, Kitab al-Sunnah, and Kitab al-Ibana. All of these books have the same message and were written a very, very long time ago, although they're much more advanced and less accessible to the average Muslim, right? Anyways, there's actually a lot of misconceptions about him, and this could be a whole video talking about his biography and the different misconceptions, but one of the big ones is that he created a new sect. People say that he started the Wahhabi sect or the Salafi sect, and that this is some kind of new thing in Islam, and it's really not. The word Salafi is a descriptive term more than it is a label. It just means someone who follows the Quran and the Sunnah through the interpretation of the Salaf. The Salaf meaning the 3 generations that were praised by the Prophet ﷺ. There are actually many hadiths telling us to follow the way of the Prophet and his companions, right? And also this hadith where the Prophet ﷺ explicitly said that the best of people are his generation, those who come after them, and those who come after them, and this is the Salaf. I'm editing this video now and I remembered this hadith where the Prophet ﷺ states that the Ummah will be divided into 73 sects, and all of them will be in the hellfire except for one. One narration says the main body, and another narration says those who follow that which I and my companions are upon today. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that all of the other sects are kuffar, but that they will go to hell before going to Jannah, at least. And so just because you read books by Ibn Abdul Wahhab doesn't mean you're following a new sect. He didn't create a new sect either. He just revived the truth in a place and in a time where deviance was very common. So you could say it looked like he created a new sect, right? Because look at this group of people that are doing something different, right? But in reality, he just called people to follow the Quran and the Sunnah and the Ijma' of the Sahaba and the Salaf, etc. Anyways, if you're a new Muslim or you've been a Muslim for a while, but you're kind of lost on how exactly to seek knowledge and to improve yourself, stick around because this series is for you. The next episode comes out in about 2 or 3 weeks, inshallah, and after that there will be 2 more episodes. Also, if you happen to have any questions about Islam, some doubts that are bothering you, or if you're trying to seek more knowledge, etc., do check out my Discord server. It's a really nice community of Muslims trying to seek knowledge and improve themselves. We're not sheikhs or anything, but we do have some people who I would say are quite knowledgeable, Allahumma barak. Some of them even helped out with this series, so huge shout out to those people. So if you're interested, check the link in the description and support me on Patreon so that I can pay my rent and buy a kebab on Fridays. Anyways, with that said, may Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.